Hi, and welcome to today's literary lesson. My name is Chris Galvin, and I'm going to walk you through the unit lessons for a 7th grade literature class using the book title, The Giver. This unit study is used in the classroom for gifted and talented students who will be diving deeper into the literary material for 2 literature classes per week. For my performance-based project, I will be presenting 8 unit lessons using Wiggins and McTeague's Understanding by Design model as an instructional model for learning strategies. It's also known as the backwards design. Through these mini lessons, I will be using several learning strategies, such as reinforcing effort and providing recognition, using non-linguistic representations, summarizing and note-taking, homework and practice, cooperative learning, cues and questions, and advanced organizers. These lessons will consist of discussions or blogs, collaborative team efforts, advanced organizers, perspective presentations, and creative writing. After completing these lessons, students should be able to determine similarities and differences between designated groups. They should also be able to predict the meaning of unfamiliar words by their uses in context. Students will also produce a poster or pamphlet for promoting their idea. And finally, each student will be able to creatively post through blogging a final ending to the novel. So let's get started. In the first lesson, we would discuss what a utopian society might be like. Is it really perfect? With careful scrutiny, readers might see that there may be some flaws. The society in The Giver discourages individual identity and classifies its members with the term sameness. My students would talk about why this is so. Using the strategies for reinforcing effort and providing recognition as well as cues and questions, students are able to contribute to this opening discussion. I will then give the students 2 different activities to complete. Using this graphic organizer, each person is asked to contribute his or her attributes that make up his own personal identity. As a class, we'll discuss these attributes that make us individuals. Students are encouraged to write in additional comments from their peers. Next, I'd have the class break into groups of 4 and work on completing the activity for listing the pros and cons of living with a small family versus living with a large family. The students are given a rubric to complete each task so they know how to efficiently complete the material. Both of these activities should be pasted in the student's journal notebook for future reference. These journals will be collected later. After completing this lesson, students are assigned to read chapters 1 through 3 as homework. They'll also blog a paragraph on which family style they would prefer to live with and why. The class blog is already set up for students to make their contributions in specific discussions. Lesson 1 activities include using reinforcing effort and providing recognition, and note-taking for the class discussions, cooperative learning and advanced organizers in the class activities, and homework practice as a follow-up for reinforcing the lesson. Lesson 2 should begin with reviewing the blog contributions that the students made from the last lesson. I would then guide a discussion on the reading assignments from chapters 1 and 3. Next, students will break into groups of 4 and then into pairs. Each pair will take a column and complete A, B, and C in their journal notebooks. When both groups are finished, they can exchange answers to complete their vocabulary assignment. After Lesson 2, students are assigned to read several chapters as homework. They'll also blog their predictions for the plot outcome. With this exercise, students are using cooperative learning, note-taking, and cues and questions while working in vocabulary groups. The follow-up and blog activity reinforces homework practice with the students. Lesson 3 should begin with reviewing these blog predictions that the students made from the last lesson. I would then guide a discussion on the reading assignment from chapters 4 through 7. After the review, we'd begin a discussion on literary irony and how it can be misleading. Students can participate in giving examples of ironic situations or terms that might not actually be what they appear to be. In this exercise, students can work in pairs to determine how the words release and stirrings are used in The Giver. They should follow the rubric for note-taking and glue this handout into their journal notebooks. As an individual project, students will then be asked to develop either a poster or a pamphlet to advertise and explain the methods of selection that the Society uses in The Giver. Students will have to determine their role for selling their idea, they'll also have to determine their audience who would be reading their publication. And lastly, the students would have to determine the format they will use for their delivery. After Lesson 3, students are assigned to read several chapters as homework. They'll also need to start gathering ideas for their poster or pamphlet. With the exercise on literary irony and the upcoming poster assignment, students are working in pairs for cooperative learning and note-taking, and non-linguistic representations for their poster assignment. The follow-up homework assignment is to prepare students for their graphic organizer presentation. Lesson 4 would be a continuation of the previous lesson. After reviewing the chapter plots, students would be using their class time to work on their advanced graphic organizer, which is their poster presentation, or their pamphlet handout. I would encourage peer review and suggestions for anyone that might need more guidance. After Lesson 4, students should be finishing up their poster or pamphlet. They should continue reading, and they'll also blog their response to breaking society rules. The follow-up homework assignment is to prepare students for their formal graphic organizer presentation and their follow-up assessment. Lesson 5 consists of a review of the chapters and a discussion of the blog comments. Next, each student will present his or her advertisement in either poster or pamphlet form. Students are using non-linguistic representations, summarizing, and advanced organizers for their learning strategies. After Lesson 5, students should be wrapping up their reading, and they'll also blog their reactions to the Society's meaning of the term release. Students should use their homework strategies to prepare for the formal assessment. Lesson 6 will be a formal assessment for students to check their understanding of the plot and characters. The learning strategies for this section is developed in summarizing and cues and questions. Students should have the class time to answer the 10 assessment questions and then begin working on their formative responses to their blog assignment for homework. This is the last reading assignment for the giver. Students will find that the ending of the novel is unsatisfactory, and this should lead to discussions in the next lesson. They should contribute to the blog. Lesson 7 consists of a review of the chapters and discussing the ending of the novel. This science fiction novel by Lois Lowry captivated millions of readers. However, many people were frustrated with the ending as they were often left with unanswered questions. The last assignment for this unit is to give the students the opportunity to add their own ending to the story. The requirements for their short ending would be that it should be at least 2 paragraphs, and it should fully explain what happened to Jonas and the baby Gabriel. Students should proofread their writing for grammar and spelling errors, and then finally they should post their piece on the class blog. Using the learning strategies for reinforcing effort and providing recognition, summarizing, and homework practice, students will be given a written rubric and will be asked to blog their original story ending to share with their peers. The learning unit will culminate with a preview of the movie The Giver. This is a 90-minute creative video interpretation of the book. In subsequent meetings, the class might converse on how a utopian society is the same as our present-day society, or how is it different? This concludes my performance-based project using the mini-unit lessons to study the book The Giver. Thanks for watching.